I just got finished watching Knock at the Cabin, and I have to say that this is one of Shyamalan's most disappointing works. And it's really infuriating how such a director and a writer and a producer like Shyamalan can go from works like Unbreakable and The Sixth Sense to producing just slop like this or The Visit and that god-awful Avatar movie that we would rather forget and never talk about. I mean, I'm not going to waste too much time on this movie because this movie is just a waste of time in and of itself already. It's plotting and boring, and any tension that it does build up within the first act of the movie is just wasted and dropped quite early on, actually. The performances from the characters are fine. They're probably the best part of the movie, the acting, especially from Dave Bautista. He's really solidified himself as the best wrestler turned actor since ever, especially of this new crop between himself, The Rock, and John Cena. But the supporting cast around him, I mean, they were good. I think they're probably a bit hampered by the writing because the writing is just, it's terrible. The characters are so one-dimensional, and I get it. They're supposed to come off as these crazy, schizophrenic, disaster and doomsday mongers, but really, aside from that, they have like one other trait, and they're just so bland and forgettable. I mean, you have Ron Weasley, who, he's a bigot, he's a homophobe, and other than that, he's angry and swears. I mean, you kill him super early on, so you don't really have any time to get to know him, but
A part of humanity has been judged.
This isn't real. This isn't real.
even the other two that last a bit longer, I mean, one's just a nurse, and she was slightly religious before, but the other one's just kind of kind and really probably the most coked out of the bunch, you know. She acts the most like a meth head that's on a bad trip or something. Our victims, the family, Eric and Andrew, they're okay. I think, I can't even remember which is which. I think, was it Eric that starts to actually believe them because he hit his head? I think that's just, it's handled very, it's such a sharp switch into believing them. It doesn't really feel that gradual. He sympathizes with the killers or the crazy people. I don't know, the four horsemen of the apocalypse, because that's what the movie wants us to believe they represent. I think it was some line of they represent the four states of humanity as well, and we had malice for Ron.
Remind us of all aspects of humanity. Redmond Malice.
Then you had the black chick was healing because she's a nurse, whatever.
Sabrina Healing.
Then there was nurturing from the other woman, the meth head,
Adrian Nurturing.
because she looked after the daughter for a little bit. And then you had guidance from Leonard.
Leonard Guidance. They're the four horsemen of the apocalypse.
Which, yeah, that makes sense for him as well. But it's like, yeah, that's definitely all four emotions and states of humanity right there. Just fucking malice, nurturing, healing, and guidance. That's all there is to humanity right there, And then, what was it? Andrew was the other one. He was the angry one of the two gay dads.
We're coming in either way.
The hell you are! I have a gun!
Show us what you're packing, Daddy Andrew. We all like show and tell.
You'll see it when I'm pointing at your head, you piece of crap!
And I mean, even then, he's just such a weak character. It's like, they kind of build his anger up, like, out of nowhere. Yeah, he's more confrontational, and he's a bit more aggressive towards the horsemen, right? And blaming the attack because it's a hate crime or something that they're being targeted. But like then with the flashbacks, which was also just a terrible way to try and get us invested into the couple and try and build their relationship.
I like your fridge.
Thanks, Mom. They drove for 7 hours and stayed 45 minutes.
I'm sorry. What do you expect? That's my mom asking how it's going. Always together. Hi.
Which was just really bad. The flashbacks it just randomly adds in, oh, you have a temper, you know, it's not the scary kind, but it's there.
You have a temper. Not in a scary way, just... it's there.
Like, okay, and then we see him. They actually tell us that Ron, like, bashed his head in at a bar before they show us that.
We've always been targeted. I knew I recognized him. Redmond is the guy from the bar.
What guy from the bar?
Andrew was attacked by a man at a bar in Boston many years ago.
And then they show us that later anyway. Like, they tell us it first, and then they show us, like, an hour later, and it's just like, you could have just shown us in the first place.
You guys keep it down.
Were we being loud?
I'm trying to have a drink with my friends.
Oh, we were being too loud? Is that what it is? Get your drunk ass back to your seat.
Fuck you.
You shouldn't provoke them.
I wasn't provoking.
Oh my God! What the fuck? What the fuck, Andrew? Are you okay? Oh my God! What the fuck?
And then you could have shown us Ron's face and, like, had us come to put two and two together, you know, had the viewer put two and two together so there could be some more doubt and have us believe that it's a targeted hate crime attack instead of this world-ending event and they're really nice and trying to actually save people. But like that's just like it's not even like a red herring, because it's never believable that it's actually a hate crime and they're all just bigots who hate gay people and they're there to kill them and torture them and shit. Because, well, they kill Ron straight away.
A part of humanity has been judged.
This isn't real. This isn't real.
They kill themselves. Like, what kind of hate crime has there ever been where the attackers, the perpetrators of the hate crime, kill themselves in front of their victims?
A part of humanity has been judged.
You know, I've never heard of the KKK lynchings where they murder one of their own and then try to be like, oh, see, it was self-defense. We had to kill that black guy. We had to hang, drawn, and quarter him because it was in self-defense. Or, you know, we had to shoot up that gay club because they killed one of us first. Like, I just, it's so weak, and it's such a missed opportunity to try and play at that. I don't know why it's there. I don't know why it's in the movie if there's never any doubt of it being a hate crime. Even that they have this revelation of, see, it really was this guy from the bar.
So bad.
5 years ago. And it's just like, yeah, Leonard himself, you know, Batista, he fucking says, as soon as Andrew brings it up that this is the guy who assaulted me in the bar and he's using a different name, using a fake name now, it doesn't matter. Leonard brings it up straight away that it doesn't matter and it doesn't change anything. But they still have the reveal an hour later into the movie. And yeah, Leonard was right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything. And I mean, I guess we should talk about the apocalypse itself, right? That's the crux of the movie. It's the main focus. The visions and needing a family to make a choice and sacrifice one member from their group is just such a strange idea, and it's never really delved into. That's all you get. Yep, that's all it is. A family needs to sacrifice one of their own in order to stop the end of the world. There's 4 people who are going to attack them. They're going to ask them to make a sacrifice 4 times. Each time they say no, another plague is going to rain down upon humanity.
I explained to you what would happen as a result of you not choosing. A plague will be released by Redmond's death.
Until the 4th one ends humanity altogether. And that's all you know about this apocalypse. It is never delved into further where these visions come from, why these people are chosen, because it's just all random. That's just it. And that's apparently how it's always worked in this universe from the beginning of time, I guess. One family has been randomly chosen to be the sacrifice, and 4 people have been randomly chosen to become the horsemen of the apocalypse. That's all you need to know. And then the way we learn about the disasters that are happening, the movie tries to keep them ambiguous of like, oh, well, first here's an earthquake that causes a tsunami, and, you know, the first one was, well, this earthquake happened 4 hours later, and it was well off the coast, and hey, we were able to evacuate everyone before the tsunami happens, but then, oh, that's just the fake out, because here comes the real apocalypse, and here comes the real earthquake that happens right off the coast of Portland or some shit. And the tsunami's fucking massive, and it destroys people, and, M. Night, because he made The Happening as well, right? And even in that movie, the news segments are really bad, and they're still really bad here, like 10 years later. I just don't know how this guy just can't make a believable news segment in a movie. It just looks so unbelievably fake. It sounds fake. Everything about it is just so fake and so immersion breaking. It's where the first cracks of the movie start to show themselves. And really, this first news segment is where it all goes downhill. I mean, there's even a point in it where they cut to live footage from the beach on the news, which is just a random person's like video from their phone, and that person gets hit by the tsunami and dies, and they're just showing that on the news. Like, they somehow have that on the news live as it's happening, even though the phone would be lost in the ocean, and they're just showing it on the news as well. They're just showing hundreds of people get eviscerated by a tsunami on the fucking news, on national television, like it's fucking normal.
We've just gotten word the tsunami has indeed hit the Oregon shoreline, and we have footage shot minutes ago from Cannon Beach.
Holy crap, this is what I saw.
But, okay, there's some doubt here, you know, well, that wasn't part of the apocalypse. That shit happened ages ago, you know? It's just the aftershocks. The first earthquake happened 4 hours ago. This is just the aftershock of that. You know, it has nothing to do with what's going on in the cabin. It's just it's a coincidence. And then this also brings up a question that is never prodded into further. I hate it that I know the couple, they're in a super distressing situation. One of them's got a concussion, so they're obviously not thinking right clearly either. The other one's super heated, thinking they're the victim of a hate crime. They're trying to look out for their daughter. I know they're not in a very clear and clairvoyant state of mind, but like, they never press their attackers on their stance with the visions and what they mean, and how this prophecy is fulfilled, because one part of it is very strange. See, it's not just, oh, the family says no, they don't make a sacrifice, and then, say like an hour passes and then the plague hits. No, one of the four horsemen has to die. They have to kill one of their other members, which they kill Ron first. And that is the catalyst which releases the plague. It is never once brought up about what would happen if one of those horsemen just didn't die. If they didn't die, would the plague still be released? If so, why do they need to kill themselves? If not, can we just avoid the end of the world by not killing Batista? But this question is never raised. This line of thinking is never explored, and it's just another bit of wasted potential in this movie. But we get to the second plague. This one is COVID-19, but we call it X9, and it's targeting kids. It's really bad for kids.
There have also been new developments with the novel X9 virus, which is proving particularly fatal to children.
And apparently it's been going on for months already, so it's also just another one that's like complete bullshit and a complete coincidence. So like pretty weak shit, really. Then here the couple starts to make their escape. They get loose of their bindings, and they go out to the car where it's been set up that there's a gun in the trunk, and there's a bit of a scuffle, and it's a bit stupid, bit of crappy action scene. And then Andrew, the one with all the rage, the one with all the anger, the one who still thinks this is just a bunch of crazy people going on a paranoid, schizophrenic like meltdown and trying to attack his family in some bigoted, homophobic hate crime. He gets his gun, and he has this woman dead to rights. This woman who is trying to murder his family, and who is just spouting all this nonsense about the end of the world, and who he has personally seen kill 2 people already. And he fires a warning shot. And then he tells her to back off, or else he'll shoot. She backs off. She backs away into the woods, and then she starts to run, and he doesn't do anything. And it's here where Andrew's character falls apart completely, because, well, he's supposed to be this angry guy. He hates these homophobes. He hates the way the world treats and views gay people like him. And he has this murderer, this horrible, terrible, in his eyes, schizophrenic, insane person, dead to rights. And instead of emptying the mag into her fucking skull, like any reasonable person would, let alone a pissed off father who's trying to protect his family, he just lets her go. Like, I firmly believe Andrew's the type of guy that would be sitting in a room with Hitler face to face, and he'd have a loaded gun, and he just wouldn't shoot Hitler. You could put the most evil person in history in front of Andrew, and he just wouldn't kill them. And it really just continues to spiral from there. He heads back inside, just threatening Leonard with the gun, trying to get him to back away from his family instead of actually shooting this guy. Then the black woman, she runs back into the cabin, and, well, Andrew does fire because she's charging at him, and he takes her out. And then they kind of just reset for a bit. You know, he goes over to his family. Leonard goes over to deal with the body. They try to just deal with what just happened, but then they also just kind of sit by and watch as Leonard bashes the woman's head in and finishes the job, I guess. Andrew only shot her in, like, the chest. Andrew still has a gun throughout all of this, by the way. He's just still not attacking Leonard. Leonard has this massive, like, maul axe thing. It's just such a weird, like... Their weapons are also just so bizarre. They don't come with baseball bats or axes or anything like that. No guns of their own. They come with these fucking, like, weird amalgamations.
There's a woman carrying something that looks like a pick with a chain and a mallet head at the end.
Like they were out of a fucking Bloodborne or something. Got like a fucking pitchfork attached to an axe. It's like a weird melding of the two things, and then there's like fucking flails on the back ends of them, or blades on the instead of the butt of a spear. It's just weird, unnecessary, really. Then they still don't want to shoot Leonard. Andrew's, oh, I'm not a murderer like you guys.
No, I'm not a murderer like you guys.
Like, he actually says that even though he just shot a woman. And, it's like self-defense. You're protecting your family, mate. Just kill these people. But no, they're just gonna leave and then lock Leonard away in the bathroom.
So I'm gonna lock you in that bathroom.
And so they do that. They close the door, they put him into the bathroom, and then they're gonna leave. But then they hear a window break. It's like, oh, did he just jump out the window, and maybe he's outside the house now and he's gonna get to the car and he's gonna ambush them when they go outside. Crap, they can't leave without checking that he's still in the bathroom now. And this is just the most egregious, like, most terrible fucking part of the movie. Oh, and I should mention that the third plague does go off when the woman dies. And that is just planes just start falling out of the sky. They just malfunction and just fall out of the sky all over the world. See, now that one's like, oh, it's like a real thing now, okay? It's like definitely an apocalypse that's happening, because that one's just completely unexplained. There's no like, well, it was a disease that was already around. It's like, well, it was an earthquake that happened 4 hours ago, and then, just a potential aftershock, or like, well, earthquakes just happen. But it's like planes everywhere, all around the world, just start falling out of the sky and crashing to the earth, and people are dying. Okay, but back to the bathroom, back to the broken window, and back to Leonard. Now, this is terrible. This is just horrible shit, because Andrew opens the door. He doesn't get ambushed straight away, like you might expect, but, well, it's a very small bathroom, for one, and, they reveal the window, and the window is smaller than the size of my asshole, okay? The window, a normal fucking person would have had a hard time getting out of this window. Let alone Dave Bautista, who is at his biggest for this role. He's fucking 300 pounds. He's blown up like a balloon for this role. He even overdid it with the weight gain, and he's uncomfortably big, he says. And they try to, like, you were seriously worried about this fucking behemoth of a man escaping out of this window? The child, the 9-year-old little girl, is the only one that would have been able to get out of this window. So, of course, he hasn't left the bathroom, but then where is he? Well, there's a shower there, and it's got the curtain drawn. Well, he's still there, right? But, he can't leave, right? He can't escape out the window because, well, the window's just way too small. So you can just close the door and lock him in again, right? And then you can leave, yeah? No, Andrew, oh, I'm not a murderer. Well, now he just blindly shoots into the shower, puts a hole in the curtain. No blood, no grunting, nothing. He missed. And then he pulls back the curtain, and Bautista just jumps out and tackles him, and obviously overpowers him and gets the gun. It's just so stupid. Like, M. Night is a very experienced filmmaker. He's been doing this for a long fucking time. And this shit is just garbage. Like, this is fucking elementary. The school kids, like the fucking 9-year-old, could have written a better script for this. Like, I don't understand. So Leonard's back in charge. He just, keeps the family at bay, and then he warns them that, well, after he kills himself, they'll only have a few minutes to stop the end of the world, because they obviously don't make a choice again. Then he slits his throat.
All of humanity has been judged.
Fucking thunder starts striking everywhere. It's, brimstone and hellfire in the sky. Eric's like full on loony now as well. He's like believing in the bullshit. He saw a vision, he saw a figure in the light when they first killed Ron, right? He saw a figure in the light standing behind Batista, and he wants to sacrifice himself. And him and Andrew struggle with it a bit more. Andrew's still clinging to like the homophobia bullshit.
You're not worth it! They hate us, Eric. They hate that we exist. They're monsters. They destroy everything. They hurt each other.
Though he kind of hates the whole entire world for it, so it's like, whatever. I don't know. Eric does, Andrew does like shoot Eric eventually, and then the lightning stops. He takes the little girl. He takes their daughter Wen. And they hop into the car and they start driving away from the cabin. A flaming tree falls on top of it and burns it all up. They also they find like a bunch of possessions from the crazy people in the truck they drove to the cabin, which confirms all their stories, because Andrew was still kind of not believing any bullshit, any sub stories that they fed them. But like, this also just doesn't do anything. Like, yeah, of course they weren't lying about being a nurse or having a kid, or Leonard being a teacher. Like, yeah, why would they lie about that shit? If they wanted to lie and make up some false narratives to garner sympathy for themselves, they could have done a lot more shit than just some pretty generic normal stuff. And it's like, even if they were just crazy schizos and there was no apocalypse actually, well, they'd still have normal lives as well, they'd still have families, right? I don't know what this reveal's supposed to be. It's just whatever. Just another thing that doesn't have any thought behind it. And then they drive off. They fiddle around with a radio for a bit. Whether or not to have it on or not. Drive off. They drive to a diner. They stop.
There's a diner over there.
Stop in, and there's people there. They stopped the end of the world.
On the roof, my daughters, my girls. How does the end? Two of my girls can't swim, and the water just stopped rising.
Switch to the other one.
The last of the planes in Australia and Russia have landed safely. Families are rushing the airports, searching for their loved ones. Amidst this chaos are emotional scenes.
We were rolling the bodies out into the parking lot because there wasn't room. This past hour is the first time in many, many hours that we haven't had a death in the ICU.
Which is another, like, bit of wasted potential. Like, they could have just had some stuff. They could have played with, maybe Andrew hesitated too long and he took too long to kill Eric and the world did end anyway, and could have had a super depressing ending where it still was just him and Wen at the end of the world. But Shyamalan doesn't have the balls to do such a depressing ending, so that's just lame. There's another fake, dodgy bullshit news feed going on in the diner, and it's showing that like all the apocalypses were reversed. You know, all the thunderstorms that were starting wildfires and forest fires just stopped, and the fires were contained. The planes that crashed down to Earth, there were lots of survivors in them now, and they were being rescued and shit. Fuck, even the people that were sick from the disease that had been going on for months. It had been going on for months. This was just an actual disease. But now they're all just starting to get better, because, you know, it's no longer the end of the world. Wow, amazing. And that's just kind of it. It's like, yeah, that's the end of the movie. And I mean, it's just terrible. It's just so pointless and so boring and so bland and so predictable. Nothing happens to challenge you. There is no quandary at all, really. There's nothing about, like, there's nothing about saying fuck you to the world. They just, like, stalled and were evil in the end. They should just, it's fucking easy. Oh, the end of the world or one human life? Yeah, obviously you should just fucking kill yourself, right? And I mean, just looking at some of the shit that's, like, said about this movie, fucking, apparently it had a different director originally, and, well, Shyamalan was so enthralled by the original screenplay that he became a producer for the movie, but then he also rewrote the script and also came on to direct it, which was apparently part of a 2-film deal with him and Universal Pictures, with the first film of that being Old. Remember that movie about the beach that made you old? Yeah, that was another really fucking awesome Shyamalan movie, wasn't it? Definitely on the Avatar side of things rather than the Unbreakable side. And he also said some shit about this was the fastest script he'd ever written in his career, and it's just, yeah, it's that's not surprising. I don't know, it's just, movies like these are just depressing. Like, from one of the biggest names in the industry, you just need to do better. Oh yeah, and just one last thing. There wasn't even a twist to this movie. You know, the one good thing you can expect from a Shyamalan movie nowadays, of that there's usually a twist in some kind of fashion. No, it's just straightforward. They averted the apocalypse. That's it. The world really was going to end, and sacrificing one of them really saved it.